Welcome back to another episode of That Sound Podcast. And if you love music, you're in the right place. Today we are joined with Luke, of course, and we have a special guest on today, Shep, who is going to be reviewing the Sonic Temple Festival, the most recent two-night, no-repeat Metallica shows. Shep, welcome to the show.
Yeah, yo!
Was there much merchandise there for Metallica? Obviously,
yeah. Metallica brought their big M72 trailer thing. It was there in full. I heard that they were selling posters, but incrementally. So, like, the early birds got the first batch, and then my buddy walked up to me at like 4 p.m, and he was like, "Look at what I got!" And I was like, "I thought you got here at like noon." And he was like, "Yeah, no, I just walked through the line and I got a poster." And that's unheard of on the big tour because they sell out of all of them almost immediately.
Yeah, the pop shops and that.
And so there was a pop-up shop downtown. The last pop-up shop I was in like Chicago last year. I really don't like the pop-up shop.
Yeah.
I go through, it's usually kind of the same thing. If there's a revolving door of, city-specific merchandise, that's cool. I have my Detroit shirt, but I'm not a collector. I'm not a poster person. I'm not like, that's really not my thing.
That's cool.
There's a couple like knickknacks. So like the one thing that I saw last year, and the reason I did go to the pop-up shop in Chicago was they had the they're right on my desk over there somewhere, but the vinyls, the misprinted vinyls, and they cut out the centers of them that had the stickers on them, and then they recycle the rest of them. And so give me 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So these were the one thing that last year I was like, I have to own these. I have to get them. And so they are literally misprints of the vinyls from their press in Virginia. And so I'm going to like clear coat these in epoxy, and these are going to be the coasters on my coffee table that I don't own yet. And they're going to go right next to my James Hetfield Messenger's guitar coffee table book that I have. And and so there's like, these are 72 seasons. This is a special edition. You can see this might have been from the Chicago special edition because this one's orange and blue. And so I have 72. I have a Ride the Lightning, which is a special edition ride, which I think was from the box set that was misprinted.
Oh, shit.
A Kill 'Em All, and a full load. All 4 sides of load.
Nice.
Did you see that they misprinted something on Kirk Hammett's video unboxing the load? The new one.
I haven't studied that as much as I should have. I don't know. Do you know what they misprinted, or
I've seen something that they spelled something wrong, and there was kind of chatter on some of the forums that people said, obviously that was probably recorded a while ago, and it probably was an early edition, but there was something, it might have been like remastered or something was spelled wrong, but it was something along them lines,
Okay.
But, it's
something shouldn't. Yeah,
and he's unboxing it, and of course somebody copped it. They're like, wait, spelled wrong.
Yeah.
But
the eagle eyes.
There's always people that will cop it. Let's get into night 2 of Metallica in Sonic Temple. So again, we get 2 opening tracks, of course, AC/DC and The Ecstasy of Gold. Where are you at this point? Are you roughly around the same area?
I went back up to the top, befriended the security guards again. There is a lady next to me who has an official Metallica working badge, like one of the internal badges.
Okay.
And so I'm stiff as a board, and I'm terrified. And because it's a night 2, I will always sit here and say, I like to joke, I am a night 2 truther. Night 2 is the best night. It's always my better night. I always have more fun. That set list is always better to me. I've had great night 1s. I've had unbelievable night 1s, but night 2 usually rolls through and I get my songs. And so I'm always nervous on a night 2. I'm like, oh my God, this could be anything. I could encounter anything tonight. So yes, I went back up and I was kind of in the same place. I started in the same place that I was, just kind of on the opposite side. So yeah.
Cool.
And below me, actually, I could see the security guard who I know. Love that guy. Again, I was trying to be as low profile as possible. And also down there, so now I'm on the side that James and Chad and I think Rob and Zach were on that side as well. Pepper Keenan of Corrosion of Conformity kept walking back and forth between the stanchion. Like he'd peek over the side and then he'd like scuffle around and he'd bother Chad. And then I think Chad would like shuffle him out of the way. But Pepper was like so excited to be back there. He kept sneaking back onto that side just so he could watch James play and see what was going on in his corner. And I
Wow.
think Pepper and Zach Harmon, Rob's technician, are close as well, because COC was out during retouring me, and Zach was on that crew. So I'm sure Pepper has known Zach for years as well. And so it was really funny to watch. I'm like, oh, that's Pepper. Oh, there he goes. Oh, and there's David like dragging him back. That was really funny. That's one of the things I'm going to ask Chad about when I see him in Philly is like, was Pepper bothering you, or did you like voluntarily let him into your space?
Yeah, yeah. He'd probably tell you too. Uh, so we
Just
open up with Whiplash, of course. What a heavy hitter to start with. Into Bells. Like, hold on a second. Just look at these first three tracks on both nights. Like, what do we have? We had Creeping
Flash
Death.
Bell's ride
Yeah, but
on this night
the first
is
night, night one was Creeping Death, Short of Straw, and
and straw. And that straw slot kind of has some turnover, but like Creep Harvey
oh,
Leper is one of those variations.
yeah.
That's crazy. Creep Harvey Holier. Just like that
Mm.
third song is always just this kind of riffy,
Mm.
hammery kind of thing. And it's just
But night
I
two opened just as intense. Like, Whiplash, Bells, and Ride. Like,
I think Whiplash Bell's Ride, that is my one of my favorite one, two, threes
yeah,
in the history of all this. Honorable mention, Hardwired Atlas Seek in the arenas.
yeah.
That was a hardwired one, two, three that I loved and I thought was fantastic. I always thought that even at the beginning of this tour, when I was kind of like drafting mock set lists, I always thought it was going to be Lux 72, kind of in the way that Lux and Hardwired are these thrashers, and then Atlas and 72 are kind of these meandering secondary singles.
Yeah.
I always thought that Lux and 72 would make a great opening pair. And it is honestly shocking to me that they have not been used like that
Mm,
yet.
yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I think they'd always go with the earlier stuff. I think to open with. I think majority
Right.
rules. I think
Can
so.
I hit you with a killer 1, 2, 3 that they opened with at my first Metallica show?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Creep, Bells, Ride the Lightning.
Wow. That was your
Yeah.
first show.
That was Marley Park '08.
Oh, in Dublin. Yeah.
And I remember Creeping Death. I would have told this story before of, how much of an impression that left on me. And I would have known for whom the bell tolls. But as I said to you, Gavin, with S&M being the album that featured heavy in the rotation, when Ride the Lightning came on after Bells with, the big extended outro of
Yeah.
For Whom the Bell Tolls,
Yo,
and just those harmonies, and when the drum started to come in, that electricity from Creeping Death just came again, and everyone was just like a wave. It was
Yeah.
like the whole field started to move.
Yeah. Yeah.
so I'll tell
I'd love to
you,
see them bring that back.
No,
Yeah.
Creep Bell's Ride actually did open Blacksburg.
Oh man.
It
That's right.
did. I
Yeah.
just saw it last week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
we
pretty.
got halfway through Ride and I was like, this is almost half of the album. And we're 15 minutes in and I've gotten
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
huge
Yeah.
chunk of Ride the Lightning.
Because
Um,
didn't they play Cthulhu as well and something else? Did they play?
uh, the single shows, the instrumental is usually Orion.
No, but in Blacksburg, did they play a couple of more off that album?
That was it. That was it
Oh,
for
was it?
Ride. They used the
Okay.
first three, and then the only other time you might have saw something is if they brought a thrasher back and they used Fight. But the
Oh,
rest
that's
of
what it
that
was.
record, or if they used the ballad, if they used Fade, but they used Day instead. And so there's
Yeah, I've been
you'll
looking
never
for
see
it.
Escape. You probably won't see Trapped. I would love to see Trapped.
Yeah.
And what else am I missing? Oh,
Um,
please.
what are
Uh,
we missing? Luke, you're not my
Creep, Bells,
good.
Ride, Cthulhu, Fade, Trapped, Escape. Oh,
Fight.
Fight. Did I say fight?
I don't think you
Yeah.
did. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
But yeah,
good.
so you'll see the rest of that album. I've seen a significant portion of that record. I think I'm
Yeah,
only missed
they
maybe
definitely
10 tracks.
rotating a lot of that album throughout the
Yeah,
tour.
rightfully so.
Yeah, 100%. It's definitely probably my second favorite, I'd say. Then we got The Memory Remains, which I can never say properly. The Memory Remains. Goddamn Irish brogue, huh? But Luke, we have good memories of The Memory Remains.
Yeah,
We
yeah, for sure.
we got Shep, I'm sure you've been in a lot of content and Metallica videos and all that, but me and Luke were actually in Slane Castle in the video for that track. And
In
last year,
Madrid on night two.
yeah, night two in Madrid, you can actually see us in the official Metallica video in the background. Something like,
In the That Sound podcast t-shirts.
yes, we're wearing the
Oh
t-shirt.
my God.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah,
So it's when you bring up 2019. I will tell you, as we are talking about openers, Hardwired into Memory in the European stadiums, I think was terrible. I hated that.
mm, well, yeah, yeah. I enjoyed it, I have to say.
Okay. I mean, you guys were there. You lived it. You loved it. But
Yeah, Slane,
God, that drove me up the wall. And that was when they kind of restructured Memory and they put the singing bit in the middle and they actually had a hard stop at the end.
yeah,
And I think Memory is a great example of the fact that they are really kind of pliable with their songs in the same way that they rewrote the end of Puppets so that you could chant to it,
yeah,
so they could use it properly as a closer, is kind of what Memory is to me. Again, that fourth slot on night two was Sleeps Until It Sleeps for most of last year,
yeah,
which was jaw dropping,
yeah,
always.
yeah,
Just a stunning, stunning song. But Memory this time in Columbus, they didn't do the bridge in the middle, the sing along. They had the hard kind of fading end, and that crowd actually sang it for the longest I had heard
wow.
in my 25 shows.
How,
That crowd wanted to sing that night, and they did a
how,
great job.
how many people were at the show, do you reckon?
I think that stadium and that full stadium floor, I think that number ended up being about 65,000.
Wow.
Nice.
Okay.
It was a good size show.
It's a
It was
soccer stadium, right?
yeah, it was soccer. I
Yeah.
think MLS is the
Yeah.
American League. I don't think that club uses it anymore, but
Yeah, it wasn't it Columbus Crew's old stadium or something.
yeah, historic Crew Stadium.
Yeah, I
So,
thought it
but
Crew.
it was filled to the brim.
Cool.
All the VIPs were seated, and I relating to how I found out about the time and the place I was supposed to be when the beach balls were being moved. The individual that I got that information from also had a handful of picks for me. And again, I'm not a collector. And so when I get picks, like I'll keep one city pick that says Columbus on it, and the rest of them, I go and I find as many kids in Metallica
Yeah.
t-shirts as possible. And so on my way over to my spot, I was actually in the stands, kind of up in the seats, just trying to find like the kid that was all the way up in the 200s or whatever. And there were people like sitting on the stairs and in the wells, like lining every single nook and cranny of this
Wow.
venue to get a view of the stage. Like it was packed.
Wow.
It was absolutely packed.
But it's a nice feeling. Look, we done something similar in Madrid. We came across some kids that was trying to get a look at James and Lars at their hotel room. We were just walking past, and there was some local Spanish kids there, and they were heartbroken, right, Luke? And
Yeah, it was very unfortunate, and they were in tears, and there was a lot of tears because their mum could speak to the police in Spanish, and they had signs and everything, and I think it was a case that the kids were there before the crowd came, so they were waiting most of the day.
yeah,
Just these two kids and their two parents. And then people were like, no, no, they're not going to come out because there's too many people. And they were bawling their eyes out. And one of them gave you a big hug, Gavin, didn't they, after the
Yeah, we were lucky enough. We caught the chat with Kirk and Rob and Ross Halfin. They done like the Black Album, the book.
Yeah, the
And,
photos.
we got some pics off a different photographer. What's his name? Luke, who won't come to
Dave Brolin.
Dave.
But let's tell the funniest thing of it all was we maybe got 8 or 10 picks, so say five each, so we got a handful of picks each. So we might have split one or two, or we might have give 4 or 5 of them away to some kids. And then we met one of the crew guys on night two,
Yes.
and we were down close.
Oh yeah.
I was fortunate enough to get some guest list tickets from one of the supporting band members, who I'll tell you off camera. But we had spotted one of the crew guys, and we were like, "Hey, hey!" And he was like, "Oh, these are the guys from yesterday." So he came over to say hello, and we were down by the rail, and he put his hand in his pocket, and he dapped me up, and he dapped Gavin up, and the pics started falling. There was that many of them.
Yeah.
We were like,
Oh
we got
God.
paid back like tenfold.
King and then Lux into Screaming Suicide, which I think are, those were the first two singles that came off that record. I think both of those songs are really strong.
Yeah.
Um, Screaming Suicide was kind of the wild card last year, barring any technicalities regarding Inamorata.
Yeah.
But I think I think Lux is awesome. I think that song is fantastic. That
So
song
good,
rocks.
especially with the double pedals.
Yeah.
Just rips. Absolutely.
And Lars is playing so damn well.
Oh my God. He is stunning to
Yeah.
watch. He is absolutely thrilling to watch.
And then you got we into the doodle. Then you got Metal Militia.
I have cell service because I'm all the way kind of towards the end of the venue, away from most of the folks on their phones. I'm texting my buddy and like literally all caps, I'm like, Metal Militia, Metal Militia, Metal Militia. And so this doodle slot where they do kind of pick a deep cut right now. I mean, I remember where we started in Syracuse, I was like, that's Broken Beat Scarred. I was like, oh
Yes.
my God. And Nashville was like hell and back. To Live is to Die in
Yeah.
Nashville was insane. And so I'm always on my toes. And so for this slot, I looked at the security guy who was manning the two sections of seats that were basically behind the stage. They'd covered them, they'd blocked them off. And I'm going to step down here. And I moved the fence myself. I walked right past like 4 or 5 police officers, and I got closer. So I was now sitting another 10 feet closer than I was. And I'm hiding basically on the stairwell behind this fence. And I had waited to do that until it got dark. And I remember I was like, oh my God, this is Metal Militia and I need a video of it, but I can't like sit here on my phone all night. Like it looks suspicious.
Yeah.
So I really had to keep my cool again. But I was texting people. I was like, oh my goodness. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
So good. So good. And
And
then
then
yeah.
they did in that doodle, there's the local OHIO, the Ohio song
Right.
from Michigan, and notably, Michigan and Ohio do not like each other.
Yes.
And
Of course.
this
Yeah.
was the worst 3 minutes of my life, hearing my band sing the Ohio song.
Okay.
It was physically painful for me to watch them conduct OHIO. It was terrible. It was
Right.
horrible. So,
But then you got another massive treat. No Leaf Clover.
oh my goodness. I love that song. I love that song so much. And it took me 16 shows until my last night in Mexico to get that song. And my video of me recording it in Mexico, you can just hear me screaming, oh my God, no Leaf Clover. Like I was so excited. So to see Clover turned over in a slot that I expected to be either Fade or Sanitarium.
Yeah.
Those are both songs that I love. But to get Clover again, I was like,
Like when was the last time that was played? It's got to be a while ago.
it was Mexico. It
Was it
was Mexico
Mexico?
before. Yeah.
Okay.
So and
Okay.
then before that, it was all the way back, I think in Europe it had a little bit of rotation.
Wow.
Year in Madrid, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if you guys saw it in Madrid, but I think it was
No.
in
We got it night two in Madrid, Gavin.
Did we?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Wow.
I have
Pretty sure.
actually keep a color-coded spreadsheet. I'm gonna grab my down again. But you can actually see, oh shucks. There it is. And so all of these are all the set lists,
Wow.
and they have all the songs in them. And so in Madrid, wasn't played in Madrid. There it is. Munich, it was played on the first night with Inamorata,
Wow.
which is
Wow.
pretty neat. So,
Such a
yeah.
good song. So good. And then you got Cyanide, which is a treat too,
Yeah.
you know?
It's always just a thrill. And
Yeah.
so I posted, I got a good video of James just like ripping through the end of that. He's bouncing, he's head banging. He loves that song. And I can tell Lars loves to play it because it's just whap, whap, whap. He just cracks away through that.
Yeah.
And it's just unbelievable.
So good. And then you got Call of Cthulhu, which is brilliant. It's so good. The Unforgiven, Wherever I May Roam. I love that
That
live.
crowd ate Rome up.
Yeah, it's so
They
good live. It's
loved
so
Rome.
good live, especially on a festival. I think everybody's probably having a good time, few beers. When that song comes on, it's so good live.
That drum intro, and so that's the only song in the over the night that has like strobing in it, and just the way that it lights that crowd up, and those pits, they just started turning, and
Nice.
it's you mosh to it, but you almost bounce.
Yeah,
Theory is you run, you sprint, you shove, but Rome is like running, rushing, headbanging,
yeah.
just
There's
so fun, makes you want to move.
yeah, it has feel, unbelievable. It gives
Yes,
you feel. It
feel
gives
is the right word.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, so good. And then you got Fight Fire with Fire, Martin to the Flame, One, and Sandman. Like that is a killer set.
Yeah, just crazy.
It's got to
You'd
be
be
one of
happy with that one, Gavin.
yeah, I think we all would be. Like, I think that's one of the best ones of the tour yet.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of repeated stuff there, but there's the
The
slots that
format is similar, but
the slots that you
like
got that are changeable. Yeah,
exchanging Inamorata for Rome with that crowd, they ate that up. Like
mm,
they loved that.
yeah,
That memory instead of Until It Sleeps, like so smart, that crowd again, just this festival crowd really just wanted their engagement and their hits, right? And you're at this festival, and more than anything, the M72 festival or the M72 shows independently are a lot of just kind of individuals and groups. It's a couple, it's a family, it's a group of friends.
yeah,
Sonic Temple, these people had made friends over the course of this whole weekend. And so there are probably groups of 20 or 30 people who met for the first time on Thursday morning and
yeah,
have spent literally the last like 72 hours attached at the hip to each other to finally get to Metallica.
yeah,
So you could feel kind of like the group experience
yeah,
here at Sonic Temple at this festival in this crowd. It was a group experience. Not to say that M72 isn't, but M72 independently kind of has pockets of things. The I Disappear, the regulars, we have our
yeah,
own pocket. There's the general kind of mosh out in GA. There's usually a good batch of people in the Snake Pit who are excited to be there, but the seats kind of tend to be quiet at the M72 shows. But
yeah,
Sonic Temple, the festival, this crowd was an entity. They were in it together. And even like Friday to Sunday, the Friday crowd, they were just figuring out. Friday night was freezing. It was so cold.
really,
I had gloves on. James was wearing like his long sleeves. I had to put my hat on my head. Like I have my olive in my hands,
yeah.
bright orange, my
No
beanie. Like I
way.
was, I was freezing. Um,
Wow,
and Sunday was hot. Like it was humid, it was sticky. And so just insane. That crowd was
wow.
high off of that energy.
But
And I
everything
think
stayed dry, right? You got no rain,
no rain. We
no
were
thunder.
apparently people were a little worried about that. They saw rain in the forecast a week or so prior. But after Nashville, which I'm sure you had been detailed,
Yeah,
and my otherwise experiences, I was so glad. I was like, it's going to be hot all weekend. Sure, easy. 4 days, no rain, no clouds, no nothing. Don't have to think about it. No
wow.
problem.
Shep, it sounds like that was an absolutely amazing weekend with some hidden gems, working on the Metallica crew. You got,
I
you
A
gotta
little
take it.
bit,
You gotta
but
take it. You gotta
you
take
count the end of that out. I didn't move during Moth because I knew that there was live pyro,
Yes.
and immediately when the one intro started, I scampered down to my corner, and I missed all of one,
Yeah.
unfortunately, to go be employed for 10 minutes. But um, I've seen one enough that I
Yeah.
was like, I wasn't too upset about that. But I
Yeah.
made it back up by Sandman, and I think kind of just to close the weekend out, they did big fireworks. There were
Right.
huge fireworks way in the back of the stage, and after the big Sandman boom, and that was so cool. That was so cool.
How long is that festival going for?
So that was 4 days, but I think this is the fourth or fifth year of
Okay.
Sonic Temple.
So it's
And
generally new
before
enough.
that, it was called Rock on the Range. And Rock on the Range had existed for more years than that.
Okay.
Here in the States, there's a little bit of a monopoly. That company, Danny Wimmer, DWP, they own a majority of the major festivals in the States. They own Aftershock, they own Bonnaroo, they own Louder Than Life. And so it's kind of strange because it's all like there's the Sonic Temple branding and then there's the DWP branding.
Okay.
But I believe it was very profitable. I actually heard that they oversold by about 15,000 tickets on Friday. Friday was packed. It was busy. It was
Wow.
so busy. So I couldn't tell you exactly, but
Wow. Yeah, funny you just mentioned Bonnaroo. I caught Metallica at Bonnaroo in 2008.
yep.
Yeah, that was amazing.
There's a low deep cut in that set list. Didn't you get like Bleeding Me or something?
Oh, I was very drunk. I don't I just remember it was James with the beanie. It was that
Yeah, it was cold. He was wearing that big leather coat.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
The crowd at that one, Jesus. I think there was like 100,000 or something like that. It was insane.
Mhm.
It was unbelievable. But
Mhm.
Shep, you're heading to Philly soon. You're going to catch the next leg. When is that? 2 weeks or is it next
That
week?
is May 23rd.
May
Yep.
20th. It's next weekend.
Nice.
Next
Wow.
week.
Friday week.
Oh,
Yep.
wow. So you're driving down. How long of a drive have you got?
That's, I think, about 12 hours. I might break that one up into 2 days. I've done a 12-hour day. I hate it. I have no fun. It's
Yeah,
brutal.
yeah.
So I'll get probably somewhere into Pennsylvania and I'll take break and I'll arrive in Philly early Thursday morning. I'm actually camping a state over in New Jersey.
Okay.
For $5 a night, I can occupy a primitive campsite in the New Jersey State Forest System.
Nice.
Nice.
30 minutes from Philly, and you will not catch me complaining about that. And
Hit up,
so,
hit up Wildwood or somewhere.
yeah, we'll see what I end up doing. I have a buddy who owns a guitar store in the metro area. One of my good friends who I tour with is also a guitar player, and we're like, Philly, we're gonna go to a store and we're gonna play. I was told the signature in Philly, you gotta get a Philly cheesesteak. So I'm gonna track one of those down. And I also believe that the local club is actually tailgating in the parking lot. So that will be cool too. I always love catching up with the local clubs. I represent my own struggle within Michigan. We had a great role in Detroit. We had like a pre-party. We had a night
Uh,
between. We did a great charity day. And so I always just kind of love seeing, things get put on the schedule and, seeing like the Houston guys, in Texas. Like I love all of the Texas clubs. They've been so good to me, and seeing how excited they get about being able to host and things like that.
Good.
It's really cool. So just
That's
connecting with
super cool.
the locals.
But
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah!
it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on and to hear the passion that comes through you from your college days, rushing through college to hit up Metallica, to be invested so much like all of us into the band, but to honestly to sit back and listen to your passion about the band it was actually a blast having a chat with you. And hopefully down the line we'll get you back on and we'll have some more Metallica chats. But a big thank you for coming on. All
Always.
right.
I'm appreciative that you guys had me on, and I'm definitely going to kind of keep an eye on my friends and see who else you pick up from my crew, my folks, because I always love hearing their stories. There's
Cool.
only so much I hear about in line, but you guys really seem to pry it out of everybody.
Cool. Good to hear. All right, until the next one, keep
Shep,
rocking.
thank you.
All right.